Hello! Today we will explore the life of Bruce Lee. He was born in the year of the dragon and the hour of the dragon, between 6 a.m. and 8 a.m., which is a strong omen for his future roles and a recurring theme in most of his movies. The name Bruce was actually given to him by a nurse in the hospital, though he would never go by this name until his elementary school years. Ironically enough, when he was growing up, his family gave him the girlish nickname of Sai Fun. Roughly translated means little peacock. It was thought to believe that the Lee's first son had not survived infancy, and the gods had not blessed the family with the possession of a son. When Lee was born, they decided to disguise his presence with the name Little Peacock. At 3 months old, he was his first acting role, and as an infant in Golden Gate Girl. This will start a long stream of child movies. He will star in over 20 before he reaches 18. Shortly after the completion of the movie, Lee returns to China with his family. Growing up there, he is a weak child, often picked on by English students. At the age of 13, he will learn the art of Wing Chun from Sifu Yip Man, which he will first use to take revenge on his English taunters. In high school, Lee's love of martial arts will lead him in other forms of dexterity, including winning the 1958 Hong Kong Cha-Cha Championship. In 1959, having dropped out of high school, Lee decides to journey to America to find himself and claim his American citizenship. On the boat ride over, Lee will move up from lower class to upper class by teaching the first class passengers Cha-Cha. Lee arrives in San Francisco, finding his first job as a dance instructor. He then moves to Seattle to work for a friend of the family in a restaurant, while attending Edison Technical College to finish out his high school diploma. He will attempt his bachelor's degree in philosophy, all the while supporting himself by teaching Kung Fu to local residents. He will open his first Kung Fu school in a small basement in Chinatown, moving to a larger one in 1963. Of his many students will be a freshman at Edison College, Linda Emery. The two will develop a relationship and will be married within the year. They will also move to California, where Lee will open up 2 more Kung Fu schools. In California, Lee will receive much hostility from the local Chinese, who feel threatened by Lee's teaching Kung Fu to non-Chinese students. He will be challenged by Sifu Jack Man Wong to a duel to decide the fate of his schools. Although Lee wins the right to teach non-Chinese students, he feels his own performance was subpar, and decides that his own style needs much improvement. This will form the basis for his Jeet Kune Do style. In August of 1964, Lee will be invited by Ed Parker to a karate tournament in Long Beach, California, to explain his ideas of Jeet Kune Do. There, he showcases many of his famous scenes, such as the one-inch punch. It is at Long Beach that astounds TV producer Will Dozer, who offers Lee the role of Kato in the upcoming show The Green Hornet. On February 1st, 1965, Lee's first child, Brandon, will be born, but it is the death of his father a week later where Lee will make the decision to use acting as his way to spread his idea of martial arts throughout the world. In 1966, The Green Hornet will start production on its first and only season. Lee's fight scenes will be reportedly so furious that the camera can't even keep up. This will be Lee's first TV appearance since 1960. After Green Hornet, Lee made a living by appearing in small bit roles in TV shows, most notably Longstreet, and teaching Kung Fu to high-profile celebrity stars such as James Garner, Steve McQueen, and James Coburn. On August 9th of 1969, Lee's second child, Shannon Emery, will be born. A year later, during a weightlifting accident, Lee will severely injure his back to the point where doctors say he shall never walk again. For 4 to 6 months, Lee builds up his strength, all the while writing down his ideas of Jeet Kune Do. After his recovery, Lee pitches the idea of a TV show of an Eastern monk and set in Old West to Warner Brothers, with himself as the star. Warner Brothers likes the idea of the show and will eventually pitch it as Kung Fu, although replacing Lee with David Carradine. Disheartened, Lee decides to take a trip to Hong Kong with son Brandon Lee. There, he'll be offered 2 movie roles by Chinese company Golden Harvest. His first film, The Big Boss, will be filmed in Thailand. Breaking box office records in China will set the stage for his second film, The Fists of Fury. His contract over after the 2 movies, Lee decides to form a production partnership, Concord Productions. Having complete creative control, Lee writes, directs, produces, and acts in his next two movies, Way of the Dragon and Enter the Dragon. The combined success of these two movies grabbed the attention of Warner Brothers, who agreed to fund his next movie, Game of Death. In fall of 1972, production on Game of Death will be interrupted to film Enter the Dragon. Although the process will be short, Lee will never live to see the release of either of his two movies. Shortly after returning to production of Game of Death, Lee would suffer a brain edema and kidney failure, resulting in his death on July 20th, 1973.
Everybody was kung fu fighting. Those kids were fast as lightning. In fact, it was a little bit frightening, but they fought with expert timing. There were funky Chinamen from funky Chinatown. They were chopping them up, they were chopping them down. It's an ancient Chinese art, and everybody knew their part. From a fainting to a slip, and a kicking from the hip. Everybody was kung fu fighting. Those kids were fast as lightning. In fact, it was a little bit frightening. Yeah. But they fought with expert timing. There was funky Billy Chin and little Sammy Chung. He said, I hit.
You hit that, didn't you?